Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show. And in today's episode, a little late talking on this Jimmy Kimmel situation, but I did want to add my 2 cents to it because, no, man, I think that is messed up that somebody, they spend a good portion of their life building up this show just to have it get taken down because of their political views on thing. And that to me, it just seems like that's messed up. Like, when you sit down and you think about politics right now, there's no such thing as Republicans. There's no such thing as Democrats. It's all about what Trump wants to, like, he just wants people to agree with him. And that's the thing where it's like, you'll even hear where other Republicans, they might not agree with what Trump says or with what he does. And it's a conflict between them. And I'm like, fam, it's politics. I get that politics is divided. Like, there's all these different parties and all this other crap. But is there like I'm confused by, I guess, what politics is now. Like, is it supposed to be about like what's best for this country, or what shows is being shown on TV, or what's being posted on social media and all? And I get at the end of the day that Jimmy Kimmel, he did make comments towards the Charlie Kirk guy. And, just in this point in time, like, we shouldn't be making comments. But at the same time, it's like Jimmy Kimmel is a grown man. He should be allowed to say whatever he wants to say on his own platform. What's crazy is that let something happen in the Democrat Party and all this other stuff. Or just even look at how Trump supporters and even Trump himself, like how they talk about anybody in this world that doesn't support Trump. You will see some of the most racist and craziest things of all time. But let Jimmy Kimmel make comments about Charlie Kirk. And I don't even know what Jimmy Kimmel has said about Charlie Kirk. That's what I'm confused off of. So hold on for a second. Like, what did Jimmy Kimmel say about Charlie Kirk? Even other people are confused by it. Because I'm like, what did he say? So there's like, in his monologue on Monday, Kimmel said the MAGA gang was desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and of trying to score political points from it. So I guess overall they're upset at the fact that they're trying to classify. And I think they did say that guy, he was a Republican, correct? Like, he came from a Republican family. I just think as the time went on, he realized that what they were preaching, like, just not even so much as just Republicans. Because the thing is this, when I think of Republicans, like, I have done a little bit of research, and it just seems like that they're completely different than Trump. Now, I'm not saying that there's he is a part of the Republican Party, so it's like I imagine that there is like a line of, agreeance where it's like these guys are agreeing with each other and all this other stuff. But I do feel like at the same time that there are Republicans that are like, no, like Trump, he's pretty much putting a target on our back, and I would say that I feel like that was the case with Charlie Kirk. I feel like that let's just say, what do you think his life would have been like if he didn't align himself up with Trump? Do you think he still would have met his same outcome if he wasn't a Trump supporter? I personally don't think he would have. I don't think he would have met the, tragic end of his life. Like, if he did, it probably would have been when he was like an extremely old man and he lived out his days. But I feel like that when and that's something that just confuses the life out of me, is that nobody is getting on Trump about like all the stuff that's happening. You look at all the way back to that whatchamacallit, when they raided the Capitol and stuff. But no, overall, you've seen his supporters of his died then. Supporters of his died when that guy tried to assassinate him and shot him in the side of his ear. It was like, I can't remember. I think it was just one or two. It was either one or two at that event, or it was either one or two at the when they raided the Capitol and stuff. And then it's like with Charlie Kirk, I'm like, fam, what trips me out is that Trump's messages, it seems like it does more damage than good. Like, it's even doing damage to the Republican Party. It's like, that's the thing, and that's something that I have said about Republicans, is that I feel like that nobody after Trump, nobody is going to, because I feel like he is trying to ruin the Republican Party. You know, like if Republicans don't see that, if they don't understand that, then I'm like, you're just blindly, just like his supporters, you are blindly following this guy. Because my thing is this, right? When you look at the last, like, erasing Trump, like, you know, from just like all the different presidents and stuff, but when you look at like the last like few presidents, so it will be Biden, Obama, and Bush. I have not seen so much controversy surrounding a president than I have Trump in his 2 terms in office. Now, yeah, Bush and Obama, I had to, well, and Clinton, but I was a kid during Clinton's time. But even then, it's like, I ain't hear no crazy things about Clinton. You know, I think, like, yeah, there was that whole affair thing, but that was about it. You know, fast forward, Bush, you didn't hear no crazy things about him. Yeah, you heard some crazy things, but not as crazy as Trump. Obama, it's like you didn't hear no crazy things coming from his side of the world and stuff. Biden, it's like, and I feel like with Biden, it's like people, he just made it to where it's like, yeah, this man was old, but I'm like, fam, Trump ain't that far off of age. So it's like, why do you guys think like, oh, because he's just a few years younger? Hold on for a second. Let me see how old or the age difference between Trump and Biden. Because, all right, so Trump, he's 79 years old and Biden is, what is he, 82. So age-wise, they're not that far off. And I've said that before where I'm like, if you're saying that Biden wasn't mentally fit to be president, I'm like, fam, Trump is literally in the same age range as him. He's just what a few years younger. Other than that, I imagine that there ain't mentally wise there's not that much of a difference. Now I'm not saying that, you know, or I guess like trying to compare, like, yeah, maybe if Biden, if people want to put that out there that Biden was old, or even if he is saying that himself, I'm like, fam, Trump is old too. You know, I would have to say he's just a little bit more radical with what he talks about and things compared to somebody like Biden or Obama, or even if we're talking on another Republican, Bush. Because I'm like, from when I was a kid, like so I remember when Bush, when he was getting into office and stuff, like it was a little bit of controversy surrounding it and stuff. And overall, it was like there was a lot of people out there that did not like Bush. And that was the thing. I wasn't trying to, like, I guess more so I wasn't trying to, because I was a kid. I was like, I'm not going to be heavily involved in politics like that. But I would watch the news. I would, you know, hear a little bit about politics, and there would be some conversations. But I still feel like that with Bush, it was like, that was that probably, you look at him, he probably was the last good Republican president. You know, my thing is this. It's like, yeah, he might have been only supportive of, well, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. I can't really say that whether he only supported Republicans and never, but I mean, yeah, he is a Republican, but I imagine now it's like, yeah, you don't hear that man say anything. And how old is because I think he's around the same age as whatchamacallit, Biden. Oh no, he's actually the same age as Trump. That's crazy. I'm like, I did not know. I don't know why I thought he was older and things. But anyways, I mean, I guess like, cause I don't know, I'm trying to like think like I would rather see him back in office, talking on Bush and even Biden. I'm like, I would rather see them two in office, but I just feel like that where just politics is like where it's at right now in the United States is that you can't support other Republicans. You can't, because let's say there was like other Republicans that spoke out against Trump. How do you think that conversation would go? It would just be more people having a target on their back, I guess from Trump supporters and stuff. Because then it's like, I mean, even look at the one dude that was Trump's vice president. What was that guy's name? Hold on for a second. Let me see what that guy's name was again. Because that guy, it's like, yeah, you don't really hear. He might have shown some support towards Mike Pence. That was that guy's name. Yeah, he might have shown some support towards Trump. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I think he's somebody where he's like, nah, that man put my life in danger. It's like, I'm not going to, yeah, you know, we're like, I guess he would look at it as like, we're both Republicans and we are going to think Republican. But at the same time, it's like, this man just tried to put my life in danger. You know, like, you can't look past that. You can't look past where it's like, because I have a disagreement with you, therefore it's like you send your supporters after me. That's not cool. That's not something where it's like you didn't see Obama do no stuff like that. You didn't see Biden do no stuff like that. You didn't see Bush do no stuff like, unless it's just things that I missed. But overall, it's like it's stuff like that. It really trips me out. And I'm like, man, that's one thing that I'm like, I want to like sit there. Cause there are even people that I know, like people I grew up with, like friends of mine where they're Trump supporters. And I'm like, what do you see in him? Like, what do you overall see in him? Like, that's what I would like to know. Cause if it came down, cause I guess like with this last political race, that there's a lot of people out there that didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris because she was a woman. Crazy to me, but I'm like, but you'll rather vote for a reality TV star that only wants people to see things from his perspective. Like, this can't be a divided country in a way where it's like we can all like live at peace. No, it has to be a divided country where it's like a war can start between all of us at any given moment. Because that's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as like Charlie Kirk's death. It did more damage than good, and it's like, that's the thing. I truly do feel bad for the guy, but some of his views on things, I'm like, I don't overall know him as a person, but it seemed like he was religious, so I'm like, that is one thing that I can say that, was good about him. But then there was other things that he said where I'm like, fam, I don't know why you thought that was a good idea to come out and say some old crazy stuff like that. It's like, yeah, he shouldn't have had his life taken away over it. Like I said before, talking about him, is that I think it definitely would have been a situation where he would have looked up one day and realized, like, dang, I've been preaching the wrong stuff all this time. It's like I should have been saying something different. I should have been different. I should have been a better person at things. I don't know if that would have been something that he just thought of on his own, and I even had said that too, where I'm like, because he did have kids, and I'm like, they could have grown up, realized that, like, just his political views, like, that's something that they can't support. And if it was a toss up, I think if Charlie Kirk was still alive and he lived out his days, for his kids long enough for them to get into politics, and they had a different outlook on, maybe he still would have been like, no, I'm not going to change my mind or any of this other stuff. But I do think that if it came down between having a strong relationship with his kids or going further with his political views, I think we all know the obvious answer, and I think like any good parent is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to have my political views on stuff, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want this to separate, because he seemed like he definitely was a family man, so that's why I'm like, yeah, he didn't come off as somebody that was like, oh, I'm just gonna push my kids aside. I don't know. I don't know and that's the thing where it's like, you don't know what the case would be with this guy, because it's like, he ain't here with us no more. But I do think that some of the things, like I said, some of the things that he said, I'm like, that's not normal, to just come out and say stuff like that and things. So I think, because I think people were saying that he was against censorship. That's what I'm just hearing. I don't know if it was true or not. So it's like, going back to Jimmy Kimmel and his situation, how do you think that looks, where it's like you're defending a guy where allegedly he was against censorship, and by, I guess, either getting even or trying to fight for his honor, you do the one thing that he was allegedly against, and that's censoring somebody, and it's like, just like Trump, his supporters, and everybody around him, it's like, you guys are entitled. The thing is this, they can go out on the news, say whatever crazy things they want to say, do whatever crazy things they want to do, talk crazy about people. Trump, he could go on and say a race is eating cats and dogs, but Jimmy Kimmel can't make comments about Charlie Kirk. And I get it, at the end of the day, he did pass, but how do you think this would have went down if it was somebody else? I think if, and let's just say like that roles reverse, if this was somebody that was popular amongst Democrats and the Trump supporters shot and killed that. Well, I mean, no, just even look at when they raided the Capitol. How did that situation go down? Or even when what was it, the Proud Boys or something like that, and it was like, I can't remember what they were a part of, but he was all like, oh, they're fine people. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, it's just crazy to me how it's like parts of this country is being censored because we don't agree with Trump. And I'm like, fam, that's not what this country is. It's like, you really got it. That's something that like Trump and his supporters, they need to understand, is that people are going to have their opinion about Trump. And just like how you guys have your opinion about Kamala Harris, Biden, and that's, to me, that's just crazy where it's like you could come up with a whole nickname for these guys, Obama, Biden, Kamala Harris and stuff. And that's okay. Like, that could be said any and everywhere. That could be said on the news. That could be, you know, broadcast all throughout this country and stuff. But we can't have our own political views on things. It's things like that that just trips me out. But that's what I wanted to say before I end this episode, is that you guys need to understand is that people are going to have their political views on stuff. It's not going to agree with you, and that's okay. That is 100% okay. But to censor us out because we don't agree with you, how'd that make you guys feel, where it's like you want to have your political views on stuff, but it's not allowed to be said on TV, it's not allowed to be said on social media? Because if that's the case, it should work both ways, right? So I'm like, Trump, he shouldn't be allowed to speak out on TV, he shouldn't be allowed to speak out on social media, he shouldn't be allowed to make YouTube videos, press conference announcements and all these other, public service announcements and all these other things. He should be censored too, because he done said some crazy things before. So I'm like, my thing is this: if it ain't gonna work both ways, Jimmy Kimmel needs to be brought back on TV. Because to me, that just don't make no sense to me. Where it's like, this man, I wonder how long he done had his show. Because I'm like, I feel like he done had his show for a minute now. Because I think it was even seeing like stuff of his show from like, dang, he 57 years old. He don't look like it. He always, I don't know why. He look like he like a 40 something year old dude. Like he don't look like he's in his 50s. That's crazy. But anyways, let's see. He done been in some movies too. Well, it's like played as himself, and I imagine it's like, it says like cameos and all that stuff. But anyways, Jimmy Kimmel, 2003. I'm like, that show's been around like longer than some people have been alive. Like, that's why I'm like, there's like that, to me, I find that insane. I'm like, I find it insane where it's like, this show, it was a good show. And because I know I will find myself at times watching clips of the show and stuff. I'm not really a late night TV show guy, so I know people are gonna probably be like, it's kind of strange you coming out defending him and you don't even really watch the show like that. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I really don't watch, like, if it's like clips and performances, stuff like that. Yeah, I'll take a quick glimpse at it and things, but other than that, I'm like, I do still stand behind that, where I'm like, his show should be brought back on TV. I would rather have it where the show gets brought back on TV and I'm not like really a big fan of it, but I'll still watch my clips here and there and stuff, rather than we see this show get canceled because he made one comment versus how many comments has Trump made about Biden? How many comments has Trump made about Obama? How many comments has Trump made about Kamala Harris? It's okay if he does it, but it's a problem. That's one thing, I just can't stand with people, is like, where it's just they call somebody out on something and then they turn around and do it themselves. Because I guarantee and I promise you, Trump, he can look his friends and family in the face and he'll be like, I ain't gonna go out on TV and say no crazy things no more. Let like Kamala Harris, Obama, let like all these like politicians, all these different people just out of nowhere just come out and start speaking against Trump. Oh yeah, there definitely is going to be leaked calls. There's going to be leaked videos. There's going to be all these different things leaking out about Trump, about some of the crazy stuff he said about these people behind closed doors. And if he ain't saying it behind closed doors, he's going to run to either Twitter or his Trump version of Twitter, whatever you want to call that app was. I can't think of whatever. It's some old dumb name, and I'm like, it's one of those things where any and everybody can claim the TMossBoss name on that social media platform. I do not care for what is it, Truth or something like that? It's something like that, and it's an app based off of lies. I'm like, that's just funny to me. I'm like, you create an app called like Truth or something like that, but it's based off of lies, or your version of the truth and things. I'm like, it doesn't work like that, so that's why I'm like, Jimmy Kimmel, his show needs to be brought back up. Anybody else that they trying, because I think they're even trying to get on The Rock's daughter, Ava, because she made some comments about Charlie Kirk, and I guess people are saying like, oh, something needs to happen to her. No, nothing needs to happen to her. All the different times people be making Charlie, the crazy thing is that Charlie Kirk, when he was alive, like, he can make comments about people. He can make comments talking about, black crimes was at an all-time low back like in the whatever days like slave. I can't remember if he was like talking on like the 60s, 50s, like that time frame in slavery. And I'm like, yeah, because black people, we weren't even allowed to step outside half the time. So it's like, that's why crime rate was low. If we want to get into that conversation and things, but he can make crazy comments like that. Most likely that wasn't the first or last time he made no crazy comment, but we make a comment about like, oh, he should have been preaching better things in this world. He should have been talking just overall, like, yeah, not saying the crazy things that, overall, yeah, ended up leading to his death. Because it wasn't like that guy just went out, he just went crazy and just shot and killed them. No, he aimed directly at Charlie Kirk and shot and killed them. Why would he, and that's one thing where it's like, if they do ask him or figure it out at some point in time, why, I guarantee and I promise you it'll be because of his political views on stuff. Because I think they even said before that he talked about how he didn't like Charlie Kirk and his political views. So I still don't agree with his actions, but at the same time, it's like, I'm saying, like, it's things like that where it's like, I feel like that if anybody that needs to be censored in this world is Trump and his supporters, because it just seems like that a lot of the times bad things follow up after Trump done says something crazy or his supporters done says something crazy. So, but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. I just had to, add my 2 cents into the situation. But anyways, yeah, talk to y'all later. Thank you guys. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.